You know, it's kind of funny. We were showing on game day morning, on Sunday morning on our pregame show, over 7,000 days ago, you in the big house with Purdue against Brady and Michigan. If I had walked up to you that day and had told you what we would be talking about 7,700 days later, what would you have said to me on that day, Drew?
Oh, man. It would have been the furthest thing from my thought process. I do remember that game for whatever reason pretty vividly. That was my one game ever in the big house, 1999. It was I think you'd have a lot of fun if we went and looked at the rosters on both sides. As I recall, that Michigan team was pretty stacked. In fact, I think just about the entire offense was picks. But I think the most I think memorable thing about it was obviously Brady being on the other side, and that was a time where, if you recall, Drew Henson was one of the most highly recruited quarterbacks coming out of high school, maybe the year before. He was also a first-round pick to the New York Yankees, maybe even the first pick in the draft to the New York Yankees, was supposed to be kind of the heir apparent third baseman for the Yankees, and yet he chose to go to Michigan to have a chance to play Michigan football. And so I think there was this feeling of this, need to obviously play him, and so he was splitting time with Brady, and I think you could see that it was Brady's team and it was Brady's leadership, and Brady played phenomenal that day. They beat us pretty soundly, but I think you felt like, man, this guy, what a shame he's having a split time. He deserves to be the starter, and I think at some point later on in that year they made him the full-time starter, and Michigan just rolled after that and won a big bowl game against Alabama that year in the Orange Bowl. So I do remember pretty vividly that game and kind of Brady and that his senior season, and then just thinking to myself, what are the chances that both of us go to the NFL? And I mean, the fact that we've been able to play 20 plus years at the same time, is, I think, pretty remarkable.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here